The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers. Oh, there we go! They touch!
This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Frankie! Down to the inside of Hoosie's off!
Messenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero.
Hey, what's up, guys? Scott Speed here at the iRacing headquarters. Some exciting news about the upcoming Rallycross World Championship. They've got a wild card entry, and yours truly is going to get that spot. See you guys out on the track.
has been one of the most exciting forms of racing to fans in 2018 continues for a repeated round of door banging, sneaky shuffling, and overzealous overtakes as we welcome you to Sonoma Raceway, located on the landform known as Sears Point in the southern Sonoma Mountains in California, in the United States of America, which hosts the third round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. All coverage today, of course, is on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network around the 1.49 kilometer, 0.926 mile layout of Sonoma. It's clockwise in nature, 5 invigorating corners out there to challenge the drivers. The lap begins with tarmac, and then the drivers will traverse their way through the dirt-covered middle sector, sweeping through the undulation before they end the lap with a sequence of tight, body-hugging corners through the tarmac, with lap times ranging in the 40 to 41 second range. Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth alongside Randolph Cheneth, Cam Walsh on social media, and Hugo Luis in production. And we are currently in qualifying. We're almost down to the final laps of the session. Randy, here we are at Sonoma for the first time in this World Championship. A circuit that is not only elegant, not only beautiful, it's different in nature to a lot of the other rallycross circuits we visit. This is one I've been looking forward to pretty much all season long.
Well, it's only been 2 races, so it's not been that long of a wait, but I think you're right. This is really the only track we have on the sim for Rallycross that has any semblance of elevation change whatsoever. All the rest of them, you would get out there in one of these cars and think a lot of those flat earthers might actually be right, but it's one of those tracks that's just, it's so technical, and so much of the lap is actually gravel as opposed to tarmac, especially where all the elevation is, and that's what makes it, in my opinion, so interesting, so much fun, and all those gravel corners are hilariously fast as well.
So you can see the championship standings on screen. Mitchell de Jong has been ever dominant. 2 race wins to start off his championship. He's made the switch to the VW this round, Randy. He's normally been in the Subaru. As we head to Heat 1, though, he's in that VW. Something to look out for.
And he's only 3rd fastest on the night, so maybe that switch to the Volkswagen not going to pay off for him.
So Joni Heikkinen has been his main challenger. Will start Heat 1 from the front row. He'll be alongside Garrett Lowe and Stelian Chepalevsky in the 3rd position. Behind them will be Connor Parisi, Bob King, Tony Repisard, and Thomas Gerstenberg. Here we go, Randy. Before we start this race, you see what's happening here. The race starts, of course, all the way down the back of the order. It starts during the middle of the lap. Something unique.
A little bit, yeah. There's a couple other tracks that do that. Daytona does that as well. So overall, it's not too unique, but it is sort of an interesting starting point, something that's famous for a rallycross pretty much the world over, having the starting line. It's not necessarily where the finish line is, as all 7 cars are now on the grid.
All 7 cars on the grid. Heat 1 will be 5 laps in length. 2 will advance to the feature. Here we go for the first time for round 3. We go green from Sonoma. Oh, it's so tight between the top 3. Heikkinen though on the inside, and that number 3 should be able to proceed through into the lead as they head to, this is the final corner of the lap. Overtake here. Oh, who's been dive bombing there and off the racetrack? One of the drivers straight off the racetrack. Was that Thomas Gerstenberg or Bob King? I think it was.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Bob King who ended up getting pushed off. I think it may have been Stelian Chepalevsky who actually made that move. Not really sure, but he's found himself in the 3rd spot. He's actually not racing at home tonight, so he's racing on a friend's rig. Brought his VR setup to be able to make it work. But as they go up and over the hills for the first time, top couple drivers have themselves a nice breakaway. Joni Heikkinen in the Volkswagen and a Ford Fiesta from Fusion Racing in 2nd. Then you get a Fusion Volkswagen in 3rd and 4th, and then a a VEC sponsored Volkswagen rounding out your top 5 currently. Let's see who's going to joker first. Bob King's going to take the shortcut, as well as pretty much all of your leaders.
Yeah, they all went through. So Bob King here should be able to get some clean air just ahead of Connor Parisi in the 5th position. So Parisi hasn't taken to the joker, but a good move. Connor Parisi, there he is on screen. Great move past Bob King. Slots himself up the inside, and that's one that he'll need to be doing later on in the feature. And at the moment, he's not in that top 2 where he needs to be.
Yeah, he isn't right now, but getting racing here at Sonoma early is always a good thing as they now roll themselves in towards the tail end of the lap here. Let's see if Connor's going to go for the Joker this time. No, he's going to save it late, and I like this call from Connor. It'll allow him to reel in some of those drivers out in front of him, and especially if those drivers start fighting with one another, it'll hold them up and allow him to potentially be able to jump them. So Connor's just going to have to put in a couple fantastic laps here to reel that gap in as much as he can before he gets it, and hopefully he can get away from Bob King as well, who's charging in that Volkswagen, but he finds one of the tire bollards. That's going to, if anything, hamper his progress, and now there's going to be a race clutch fiesta of Thomas Gerstenberg right up his backside.
Yeah, so Gerstenberg trying to search for a way past. Of course, these drivers who don't make it through to the feature will head to the Consolation Races anyway and still have a shot to make it to the feature race, but you want that grid position heading into the final round, the one that pays the most points. Off to the Joker is the driver of Tony Repisard. Where is he going to end up? On the exit, just ahead of King and Gerstenberg. He's in the 5th position. But the top two, it's Heikkinen and Lowe, all unscathed in 1st and 2nd. As we said, Cheplevsky may not make it through, but it's all about Connor Parisi. When is he going to use that Joker? We saw drivers, Randy, when we had Dirt Night coverage throughout the year, they would use that Joker on the final lap and surprise everybody and gain a few positions.
It is something these guys should be able to look forward to. It shouldn't be too much of a surprise, though. The relative black box in the sim lets you know whether or not they've taken it, and Connor takes to it now. It's not a great Joker for him, pushing a little bit wide, and I think he's a little slow at the apex. Can he jump Stillian, though? I think he might be able to. We got a big incident at the jump. Thomas Gerstenberg, he went up and over, I think, on the landing of the jump. Likely a bit of car contact as they went through the air. I think that was with Bob King.
Yeah, so there's Gerstenberg on screen, the Frenchman. That car is, oh, goodness. That car's, butchered. And there's another car off as well. Cheppy's off, and that means he's not going to have good grip position. Parisi's in 3rd, all unscathed. Joni Heikkinen will win the heat, though. He's coming towards the final corner. Over the jump, there he is. And he has had a brilliant round. Great fight back after he had troubles in the heats last time out, Randy. You remember at Lucas Oil Raceway. Good way to start your event here at Sonoma with Garrett Lowe.
Yeah, it really is. Both for your top two. Joni Heikkinen coming in, dominating the qualifying and dominating his heat race, getting a fantastic starting position on the inside for that feature event here in about 20 or so minutes. He's going to be happy about that. Question's going to be, though, is what can those other drivers do to respond? You have Josh Fox, who's on the pole of this next upcoming heat race. And, of course, the big question mark is what is Mitchell going to do? He's only going to be able to start at best 3rd for that feature.
Yeah, so that's going to come into play later on. There's the grid on screen for Heat 2. Fox and Zelensky, as well as Yorgi Zadzon, will be on your front row, the top 3 there. And then behind them will be Hearth and Lyon, and then Logan Clampett and Pierre-Anton Delaire. Nathan Lyon's had a good season. So has Johan Hearth. 2 quick drivers from that 2nd row. Look out for them. Drivers revving, ready to go again for another 5 laps of action. We go green for Heat 2. Slow jump from Josh Fox. Bobby Zelensky's looking quick as well. Can he make the outside line work? They're still alongside each other, the top 2. Who is going to lead into the final corner? It is going to be Josh Fox, and Zelensky will file himself into P2. Brilliant start from Johan Hearth there. You can see him in the 90 car. He's on the right-hand side. Now he forms up into the 4th position. Wow, what a clean start, Randy, from all 7 drivers.
Yeah, the field single files up as they go up the hill. Yorgi Zadzon, though, he wants the 2nd spot. Bobby Zelensky made a mistake going up the right-hander, and he left that door open, and he might lose another spot as well. So Bobby, who looked keen to potentially have a good run here, is giving up spots early, and going hard. Gets shoved off by Bobby Zelensky. That motor is blown, so there's another race clutch driver that's going to be having to do this down for the B main, but things are getting aggressive here as who's going to take to the Joker for the first time. Josh Fox and Yorgi Zadzon take it. Bobby Zelensky and Logan Clampett will be your first 2 who do not take it. I think pretty much the bulk of the field has chosen not to do it just yet.
So tactics coming into play, but for Johan Hearth, 2nd in the championship coming into this round, not the way he wants to start his heats off. And you'll have a 2nd chance later on in the Consolation Races. He is a DNF for Heat 2 at the moment. But Fox and Zadzon looking quick. Bobby Zelensky up in front. Is that Nathan Lyon? Yeah, we're riding on board with Nathan Lyon at the moment in the Nexus Esports car, and he is all over the place at the moment. coming through the final corners. Who will take to the Joker this time round? Lion goes for it. It's that, look at the braking zone. How close did that get Randy? The braking zone for the Joker is, you know, you're braking on the racing line. You can be easily collected. It's something drivers have to be aware of.
Bobby Zalenski ends up losing that spot to Nathan Lyon, but he gets it right underneath them as they go up the hill here. Fantastic move from Bobby, but you're right. That is one of the criticisms of this circuit for many drivers, as Bobby's still trying to hold on to that position here as he goes up this left-hander and in towards the right. It's almost like braking at Zolder or Montreal going into the pit lane. Those who are going into the pits can stay on the throttle for a lot longer than those taking the regular racetrack, and it's not uncommon in the likes of Formula One and other forms of racing at those racetracks to see some pileups in that sector when that happens. Just saw Logan Clampett. He just took to the Joker lap. He will clear Bobby Zalenski. I believe Bobby still owes us one here.
Yeah.
So I take a look. So Bobby's in decent spot here, but he cannot afford to get held up by Logan too much if he has any hope of transferring here right out of this heat race, because he needs to get to Georgi, and he's right on the edge of the buffer of, I think, being able to get him on this Joker lap right here.
Yeah, I think Zalenski needs to take it this lap round. You wouldn't want to save it for the final lap because you'll lose the run all the way down to the first corner. Oh, did he just bump?
No, Logan just ejected all by his lonesome, and Bobby's going to Joker here.
Yeah, so there's Zalenski going for the Joker. Logan had a huge mistake there, and that will mean Bobby Zalenski, he's trying to go for P2 here. Oh, incredibly aggressive defending from Georgi Zadzon, and rightly so. Zadzon finds his way off the racetrack. He was trying every single move in the book to keep P2, and it's backfired. He's all the way down in the 6th position, plumb last, as Johan Hart is out of the race. But have a look at this, Johan Hart now, Logan Clampett now in P3 and P4. That doesn't matter. Zalenski and Fox should go through to the feature race.
It's going to be interesting here for sure as these guys hit their way through. Josh Fox is going to land, and he'll win heat race number 2. But man, oh man, what a controversial move from Bobby. I can see arguments either way for that one. It was aggressive blocking for sure, but it was also an aggressive move that Bobby's always going to try going up into there to try to get himself into a transfer spot.
Yeah, something to talk about later on, but Bobby Zalenski, moral of the story, he'll be through to the feature race alongside winner of Heat 2, Josh Fox. Clampett Lyon in 3rd, then you see Pierre-Antoine Dallaire, who saved his Joker for the final couple of laps, in 5th. Georgi Zadzon, incredible defending, only ends up in the 6th position. Heat 3 now coming up at the moment, and Mitchell de Jong will start on the front row with Phil Diaz and Cedric Gesmier. Guest, Shine, and Jens in the 2nd row. Here we go, ready to go green for yet another time. Heat 3 underway. De Jong in the VW, brilliant start. Diaz, though, in the Subaru, sending it deep into turn 1. He'll file his way into the 2nd position. Michael Guest, an ever quick start, has promoted himself to 3rd from the 4th position. Good start from Michael Guest.
I think the only bad start really in this race came from the 46 of Julian Shine. One of the talking points coming into this one, moving from Team Race Clutch over to Fusion Racing. Newest team, I think, pretty much on the iRacing service, especially in this World Championship level. And they've been doing it very, very well. Got a couple drivers already, I think, sent into the feature here. And Jorn Jens is fighting with Julian Shine right now. Not going the way he'd like. Mitchell's out in front where he'd want to be, though, in first in that VRS Quanta Simsport Volkswagen. And Phil Diaz in what is the blandest paint scheme that there's ever been, nearly as bland as Hugo's personality, running in that 2nd spot, taking the Joker lap early here with Mitchell.
Yeah, so there they go, and that's a good tactic, by the way. Get some clean air all for yourself. And of course, we spoke about Julian Shine. Good team change for him. Right now, though, not the best start to his first race with his new team.
No, it definitely isn't. And out in front, they were very, very close. I think Phil and Mitchell may have even made a little bit of contact, but you're right. Running dead last in this heat race is not what Julian would want from here. The thing is, though, is he's got a lot of cars very close out in front of him, so he can maybe afford to play it a little bit passively here and hope these guys get aggressive with one another. Michael Guest and Cedric Gesmeyer, they're getting aggressive and maybe a little bit of contact there at the top end of the circuit. And I think Jorn had to take a bit of avoiding action. 2 cars going to the Joker lap. Jorn gets a lot of understeer. Does not hit that Joker clean, and that's going to cost him a bit of time and should make for easy pickings for Julian and Cedric when they eventually opt the Joker.
Yeah, so Jorn Jens not in the best position at the moment, and he's made a mockery of the dirt section here, going up the hill through the undulation. What a brilliant sight, as well as you see the dirt fly up into the air. But Jorn Jens, behind him is Cedric Gesmier and Julian Shine. Once they take the Joker, they should be able to make their way past the driver of Jorn Jens in that Coanda Simsport card. Mitchell de Jong and Phil Diaz, though, all unscathed in first and second. Phil Diaz has actually had a pretty good season so far, Randy. You know, he's been his first race, of course, was at Lucas Oil Raceway. Ended up finishing second in the consolation round. Got some great points in the feature race. I think we can see more out of him during this race today.
Phil, I think, has been the standout driver across all of the World Championships this season, and that might come as a bit of a shock when you think about the sort of runs Mitchell de Jong has been having, and the likes of all the Coanda drivers, really, in that iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. But the thing is that outside of that, there's been very few teams or very few drivers really dominating any of their respective series. You could maybe argue the likes of Brian Michael Luva and Keegan Leahy in the Peak Series for sure, but Phil Diaz, he's been a common sight in the Peak Series. He's been running solidly there. He consistently makes the feature in both of the World of Outlaw World Championship Series, and he's having a fantastic season thus far in Rallycross. The only driver on the sim with 4 World Championship licenses, and he's representing himself beautifully across all 4.
Yeah, he's doing a splendid job at the moment, and both himself and Mitchell de Jong will most likely one hand on the trophy to that feature race at the moment. There's de Jong on screen. He has been ever impressive. Race winner 2 times to start the season. Can he make it 3, though? He will come across the line and win Heat 3 and advance to the feature. Phil Diaz joins him. Behind them, Cedric Gesmier will only claim P3 in the heats. Right behind him, Michael Guest makes his way through.
Julian Shine gets there.
Oh, nice work. Julian Shine on the final lap just gets ahead of Michael Guest. And there are your race results on screen. Jorn Jens ends up in the 6th position at the end of that. Another good heat there, Randy, but here is the Consolation Races. The first one, of course, will have Connor Parisi on the front row, followed by Cedric Gesmier and Nathan Lyon. Bob King and Michael Guest will follow behind. And then the back end of the order will be Georgi Zadzon and Stelian Cheplevsky. Once again, a very talented C main grid.
Well, yeah, and especially Stelian. He made a miracle at IRP getting through early. Hopefully he can do it here as well.
So 5 laps of action, 1 Joker available. We go green for the first Consolation race. Michael Guest with a great start, but he can't make his way through. Oh, contact! Car on its roof! The 47 of Nathan Lyons turned around into the tire barrier, and another car off as well in the background, but there's Nathan Lyon. Oh, I don't know what's going on over there. Stelian Cheplevsky as well turned around. Is his event over? Oh, this is a terrible start as well. Georgi Zadzon all over the place. Oh, Randy, where do we start?
Well, obviously at turn 1, and we got another car around. That's Bob King and Georgi Zadzon. They made contact. Bob King did this all by himself. Going into the uphill right-hand section, may have just pretty much used that e-brake trying to get that back end to come around. Did it a lot, way too hard. Georgi had nowhere to go. So in the opening lap, I think of the 7 cars that started, we've lost 4 of them, and I think pretty much all of them were just solo car incidents. I think most of them, at least, pretty much just the fault of the drivers that really ended up on the short end.
Oh, God. Bob King was overzealous, and then Georgi Zadzon was in the way as well. Oh, goodness gracious. That's what caused the turn 1 incident. Just trying to squeeze into a gap that wasn't there, but it was pretty entertaining nevertheless there. We're still following the replay at the start here. Here's the next incident. Oh, Bob King spinning just right in the way of Georgi Zadzon and ends up, I don't even know where he is anymore, country mile away from the circuit. Back live here, and your group at the moment, Cedric Gesmier currently leads the Consolation Races. Connor Parisi still in P2. Connor Parisi taking to the Joker and should find himself close to the first position here. Only the top 2 from this race will head to the feature. Parisi and Gesmier close side by side into turn 1. Still edging closer and closer, but Parisi has the grit and determination to head himself into P1.
These guys need to be patient with one another. They both use up their Joker laps, those top 2, but they have Michael Guest, who's very, very close in that Nexus Esports Ford Fiesta. Of course, his teammate of Nathan Lyon pretty much getting sent end over end at turn 1 on this race. He'll want to get at least one of those Nexus Esports cars in towards the feature. So if the likes of Cedric and Connor start fighting here for this top spot, Michael might be able to just slip into that 2nd position and take that transfer spot away. And you still have Georgi Zadzon, who, despite all the drama he was involved with on the opening lap, really is not far back here. He's only about a second or so behind Michael Guest.
Yeah, and Zadzon is quick too, don't forget. He could have made it through to the feature by now. And not only was he, well, belted off the racetrack by Bobby Zelensky, that's something to argue later, but he may not even find himself through in the consolation races. Look at the top two though, Gesmir hugging the rear end of the VW of Connor Parisi. Parisi, the man from Pittsfield, Massachusetts, needs some great points and needs to find himself near the top of the standings in the Rallycross World Championship. Hasn't had the best of starts that he wanted for the season. Joker behind for Michael Guest. He's in the third position now. And it looks like these top three will be all alone. Oh, look at the overtake from Cedric Gesmir. Brilliant move, and he's into P1, but that doesn't matter anyway because the top two will head to the consolation race. They just have to make sure that Michael Guest doesn't make his way past.
Yeah, but they head into one of the final corners here through near the top of the hill. It's all asphalt from here. Quick right-hand flick, then a quick spurt of the throttle, and then hard on the brakes and a 90-degree right-hander. I believe Georgi still owes us a Joker, so let's see where he spits out.
Zadzon through the Joker. The top two will be Gesmir and Paris. Zadzon, though, will not make it through to the feature. His day is done. Michael Guest will end up in the fourth position at the end of that race. Bob King in fifth. Chep Levski in sixth. And Lathan Lyon, of course, we know is out of the event. A few laps to go, but the top two, Gesmir and Parisi, will have poor grid position for the feature, but at least they make their way through. That's where the most points are paid in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. It is game over, and we say goodbye to Georgi Zadzon, Michael Guest, and the rest of those names below them. Michael Guest has had a great season, Randy. He's out of the feature race. Never seen that from him this season.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him, but he needs to have his head high. He's had an overall good season. Things just didn't go his way in this one, but we have one more last chance qualifier before we get to the feature, and they're gridded up.
Yep, Clampett will start on the inside alongside Repisard and Julian Shine and his new team for Fusion Racing, followed by Pierre-Anton Dallaire, Gerstenberg, Jensen Harth. 5 laps of action for the last consolation race. And we go green from Sonoma. Good start from Clampett, all alone on the inside. No contact this time. I think they were watching the previous consolation race. Who is going to lead into the final corner? Still Logan Clampett, getting ever tight between Jorn Jens and the drivers behind, though. Tony Repisard looks ever quick as well. He's currently in the second position.
These guys getting aggressive here as they go up the hill. It's been a good clean start thus far, but Logan Clampett makes a mistake, and that's going to allow the 28 car of Repisard to slip into the lead, but Logan's going to get it right back down to the bottom and try to fight for this position right back, and he's going to get it now. 2 teammates are going to duke it out for a transfer spot, and who's going to give in this situation? It's going to be Pierre, who ends up giving the spot to Tony for the moment, but as Tony's a little bit wide coming onto the asphalt, it might go back to Pierre. Logan Clampett has said, "Thank you very much. I will squeak away." Well, you two squabble with yourselves, and Johan Hart, the close moment. I think he actually wanted to take the Joker there, but with the cars in front of him doing it, he elected not to at the last minute, and that's allowed Johan Hart to squeak back in, and now he's going to go side by side nearly with his teammate up the hill as Jorn Jens and Pierre Dallaire will fight up the hill as well.
Yeah, Jorn Jens looks quick. Driver up the racetrack. That's Johan Hart. Missed the apex to the inside of the corner. And drivers all over the place. Jens off the racetrack. Oh, spinner in front. Spinner in front. Tony Repisard. Oh, he had the top 2 position. Oh, and he's collected by Thomas Gerstenberg. A lot of damage. Tony Repisard had not a guaranteed spot to the feature, but had an opportunity there. He did it all on his own. Hit the bollard as you saw on screen on the replay, Randy. And Tony Repisard now all the way down in last place with a lot of damage to that VW.
Yeah, and that's going to be a heartbreak for him. That moves Johan Hart with a free spot up into second place, and he's going to have Jorn Jens, the next driver in line, checking for Joker statuses. Jorn Jens has already used his, and Johan Hart has used his as well. So Johan is in a pretty good spot here. I think about 2, maybe 3 seconds clear of Jorn. So if he can just hold on here, he should be in good standing. Next car behind is Julian Shine, who has not yet used the Joker, and he's all over the grass on the exit there, going into the NASCAR turn. I believe it's 7A technically, and now believe turn 9, going down the drag strip pretty much backwards here. So Julian Shine, maybe a bit of an outside shot here as he still owes us a Joker, but Jorn, I don't think there's any chance, barring a mistake from Johan up in front or potentially even Logan, of getting his way into the feature field tonight.
Yeah, Julian Shine, he's trying to push. You don't want to push too hard, though, and start to lose time because you may be overzealous, just maybe over-aggressive, and you won't gain the lap time that you need. You want to straight line these dirt sections as much as possible in Rallycross. You don't want to slide too much. It's never good for speed. Logan Clampett, though, is doing exactly that. He's in P1 in that Ford Fiesta. There he is over the jump and looking brilliant to advance his way through to the feature races. He may be joined by Johan Hart. Who knows? Depending on how quick Jorn Jens will complete this race on the final lap. What about Julian Shine, who will take to the Joker on the final lap? He's passed by Pierre-Antoine Dallaire, and Pierre-Antoine Dallaire in that VEC Sim Racing Ford Fiesta, now into P4.
Yeah, and here on this final lap, Logan's actually been reeled in a little bit by Johan Hart, so Johan might be able to have a go here if he really wants to. I don't think the risk would be worth the reward as they're heading into the final braking zone of the lap. Hard on the brakes for both of them, and Logan just has to get up and over the jump clean, and he should be good for the B main here.
So Clampett and Hart through to the feature race. Jorn Jens, unfortunately, had a good race, but his day is done from P3. Pierre-Antoine Dallaire and Julian Shine, you saw on screen, both of those two were having a good little scrap on the final lap. And Shine in fourth, Pierre-Antoine Dallaire will end up in fifth, the Frenchman. They'll be followed by Thomas Gerstenberg and Tony Repoussard. Two VEC sim racing cars out of the event in that Consolation Race for the third round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. What an event, Randy. The feature race grid is all set, and we'll have a look at that shortly. But once again, the main key coming up for this feature race is the grid position for Mitchell de Jong. He starts on the outside on the front row. Not the best position heading into turn one for Sonoma.
That's really the big thing here is obviously it's all eyes on Mitchell in this series. He's really stepped himself forward as the best rallycross driver on the sim. He has a win rate of basically 99.999%. I think he's won all but one race he's ever entered, and in that race he was taken out by another driver on the opening lap. So him starting third, it's going to be questionable because Mitchell has given himself a reputation of being able to race hard and race clean. We've seen that in the World Championship Grand Prix Series with some fantastic last lap battles, and closing race battles this season. We've seen that in the VRS GT iRacing World Championship Series, and we've seen that in the Rallycross, both through the Dirt Night stuff we were doing, as well as in this World Championship through a couple rounds as well. If there's anyone that I think could potentially hook up that outside groove and make it, potentially get into the second spot, if not come away with the lead, it is that driver, the 24. He's the only one I think on the grid that has all the right stuff to maybe pull that off as he runs his way into a tire baller during the warm-up.
There are a lot of other drivers in this field at the moment, Randy, that haven't actually been in the feature race that often. You look at the likes of Gesbier, Josh Fox. They've been in the feature race. They finished down the order. This is a great opportunity now to gain the most points because we know in the feature race, that's the one that pays the most points for the championship. Qualifying P1 gets you 6 points. The heat race is 8 points for P1. The feature race, 70 points for winning the overall event. That's exactly why Mitchell de Jong has led this championship quite cleanly. But for the drivers of Cedric Gesmier, Josh Fox, Garrett Lowe, all these other drivers' names in there, Logan Clampett, Johan Hart, he will start from the 10th position. Drivers that need to make sure they keep it clean heading into that first corner so they can pick up those points behind.
That's going to be the big thing is it going to be bragging rights? Is it going to be ego once you start this race? Or are you going to think about survival, and are you going to be thinking about, just getting away with as good of a finish as you can in towards turn one? That might be the difference between making it through that first corner and basically doing your best Nathan Lyon cosplay, tumbling into the outside wall.
So the grid at the bottom end of your screen there, we saw Heikkinen, Fox, and de Jong starting on the front row, followed by Lowe, Zelensky, and Diaz. Then it'll be Cheplevsky, Zadzon, Gesmier, and of course Logan Clampett and Johan Hart to round out the field. Ready to go for the final time. 10 laps of action for this feature race. One joker available to the drivers. And everyone's ready to go here for the final time. We go green from Sonoma. What a start from Josh Fox. De Jong barged out of the way, and Heikkinen will lead heading into turn one, though. Where will Mitchell de Jong end up? Can the driver, though, of There he is, of Garrett Lowe, head his way into P3. He does. Garrett Lowe jumps ahead of Mitchell de Jong. Bobby Zelensky alongside him as well. Not the best start for our two-time race winner.
Terrible start. He's going to have a close race with Bobby Zelensky up the hill. Phil Diaz gets into this as well. 2 by 2 by 2 as they go up the hill, and they're going to get it done cleanly. 3 wide now in front of Mitchell, who's gone from that front row back to 6th or 7th. So this might be the round where Mitchell de Jong ends up falling short. Meanwhile, out in front, Joni Heikkinen and Josh Fox have been given a huge, huge gap here because of all this fighting in the mid-pack.
So here they go, Zelensky now alongside Garrett Lowe. Oh, too tight between those two. A couple of drivers taking to the Joker. Smartly done by Mitchell de Jong. He's now into the 4th position. Oh, can you believe that? Rest of the drivers in front, Heikkinen, Fox, and Diaz in P3. Clampett, though, looking close. Look at this fight down the back end of the order. 3 wide, heading in to what is the realistic first corner of this circuit. Up the hill as well. This is Bobby Zelensky in a fight for P9.
Yeah, he's fighting it out with Garrett Lowe, and this is the sort of fighting we were expecting here as Bobby Zelensky gets loose on the grass, and that's going to allow Gesmier to just slip by, and Bobby Zelensky falling to the tail end of the field here. Not going to be happy about that. Let's see who goes for Jokers this time. Johan Hart on the brakes early, and I believe, did Logan go for it? No, he didn't. So the interesting thing here is that Logan still owes us a Joker, and he's not very far away from the back of Mitchell de Jong. So look for that SimiCube NX racing machine potentially get something done as he actually muscled in Johan Hart going into that first corner up the hill, but out in front it's still all Joni Heikkinen dominating this race thus far.
Yeah, looking good, Joni Heikkinen in P1. Josh Fox, though, he needs this 2nd position at the moment, regardless of whether he is able to obtain the race win. He's looking good so far in this feature race. He's already taken to the Joker. The same can be said for Joni Heikkinen. Phil Diaz already taken to the Joker. Mitchell
Logan takes
as well.
it.
Logan takes it this lap round and will end up just behind the VW Coanda Sim Sport car there in front of him, riding on board with that SimCube NX racing car through the first couple of corners. Clampett, oh, right behind him. I don't know if you caught that, but right behind him, Connor Parisi is trying to hound him as well for that 5th position. Parisi almost spins. There, he's back on screen. I wasn't sure if he'd lost it. And he's still in P6. Parisi looking ever quick in that number 1.
Yeah, Bobby Zelensky just made a fantastic move on Cedric Geismere at the tail end of the lap to take that 9th spot back. Garrett Lowe, he's going to take the Joker. He's going to jump a number of cars. I think Johan Hart and Garrett Lowe for sure. He's going to come out somewhere around Logan, and no, he's actually going to get just out in front of Connor Parisi. So So Garrett Lowe pushes himself out in front here, and Logan Clampett trying to just stretch this gap away. He's lost a bit of time to Mitchell de Jong, who's been consistently reeling in that Subaru of Phil Diaz.
Yeah, look at Garrett Lowe though here, trying to go around the outside of Clampett. I don't think there's going to be enough room there. And looking from the underside of Clampett's NX Racing Ford Fiesta, through the final corner and over the jump they will go, screaming over the jump here at Sonoma. Not the most difficult of exits to the jump, but quite a challenging entry as you're still steering right. Need to straight up that car as quickly as possible. Field starting to form up now, so Heikkinen in front, Fox behind, and Phil Diaz. De Jong is currently in the 4th position, trying to get past Phil Diaz. It looks like a 3rd win here, Randy, is slipping away.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance for it right now for Mitchell. He's putting in quick laps. He could be in for a podium as he's quickly got to the rear bumper of Phil Diaz. Hard now down this quick little short chute. He's going to have a look up the inside. He sends it, and Phil's going to give him a bit of a tap right to the rear bumper, but Mitchell pretty much is the best Helio Castroneves impression he can do. Parks it at the apex, and he will take that 3rd spot away.
So good stuff from Mitchell de Jong. The only driver right now in the field, the only 2 drivers who haven't taken a Joker are Bobby Zelensky and Cedric Gesmier. De Jong, though, there he is in the 4th position. Phil Diaz, though, still having a good event. Then, of course, look at Josh Fox now. Josh Fox almost lost the car. He's lost a lot of time, hasn't he? He hit a barrier, I think. So Josh Fox there, Randy, under pressure now with that mistake.
certainly will be, and Mitchell's been doing some quick laps. He did a 39.5 passing Phil the last trip around the racetrack. Let's see what it is now that he had a little bit of clear track. Actually did the 40.1, so that actually kind of held him up. Josh, 2 seconds slower, and it's a 39.2 for Joni Heikkinen as he just continues to open up his gap. So Mitchell somehow, some way, I think he fell down to about 6th or 7th at one point during this race. He might be able to somehow scratch a top 2 here if Josh continues making mistakes with coming towards 2 laps to go. And Josh, once again, another mistake at the top of the hill. Maybe a bit of damage on that Fusion Subaru. Mitchell smells blood in the water.
Looking close here, heading to the final corner. Young sliding. I didn't think he'd ever end up with a top 2 position in this race the way he started, but it just always seems to go his way. Phil Diaz, though, still waiting, close behind. 2 laps to go in this event. Garrett Lowe in 5th, and we spoke about the rest of the order. Clampett, Parisi, Gesmia, Zelensky, and Johan Hart is in the 10th position. All 10 cars still running. Here we ride on board with Phil Diaz. Searching, looking for a podium position for round 3. Still no way past. So final lap this time around, Randy. This is where you can't push too hard, but the drivers are going to start to get a little bit impatient. We could see fireworks exploding all over the place.
Definitely could, as white flags in the air now at the starter's stand. Joni Heikkinen already well around that first corner. It wasn't a great lap for both Mitchell or Josh that last time. Mitchell definitely lost a bit of time through that final corner as they come screaming up the hill. And oh, Mitchell gets into the tire bollard. He ends up facing the wrong way. 3rd place is gone. 4th place is gone. Whoa. And another big impact. That might be a DNF for Mitchell de Jong in the 3rd round of the season as Joni Heikkinen gets ready around the final corner.
Oh, what a dramatic ending to round 3. Joni Heikkinen, though, will take overall victory and win round 3 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. Josh Fox will end up in 2nd after Mitchell de Jong's mistake. Logan Clampett has an engine issue. Who is in P3, though, to win this event? It'll be Phil Diaz. Garrett Lowe, though, close behind. Someone's crossed the finish line. Bobby Zelensky came across the finish line backwards. And, oh, I don't even know how the order is all shuffled around here. So Phil Diaz in 3rd will end up on the podium. Garrett Lowe ends up in 4th. Logan Clampett in 5th. I think he had an engine issue, Logan Clampett. There's the final lap on screen. Oh, I think Clampett ended up in 5th across the line. And with Zelensky turned around, it was a drag race to the start-finish line, but Zelensky finished 6th backwards on the final lap, Randy. There are the results on screen. Gesmia Hart in 7th and 8th. De Jong ends up in 9th after his mistake, with Parisi rounding out the top 10. Where do I start, Randy? We'll start off with that last lap incident with Clampett and Zelensky first. That was ever close for Zelensky claiming a top 5, but just a little bit of door banging in the end.
Yeah, it definitely was, and they may not be too happy about that, but incident with Mitchell is definitely questionable as well. Of course, the incident was, at its root, his own fault, just a mistake catching that bollard. But in all honesty, it wasn't a great rejoin from Mitchell either. I think he realized he was on the racing line and tried to get out of the way. But it's a rookie mistake, isn't it? When you're stopped on the racetrack, you think, oh God, I'm on the racing line, I need to move. And then you move right into the cars that are trying to avoid. It's an uncharacteristic mistake for Mitchell to make, and it caught out Logan Clampett.
And the other incident, of course, we saw as well, we'll have interviews in just a short moment's time, was the driver of Mitchell de Jong. The spin on the final lap, Randy, something to forget for our 2-time race winner. Not only did he not win the race, but had a terrible event for the feature race this time around.
It's not going to do well for him in the points at all, is it? I mean, you figure he came into this. Granted, a lot of his championship contenders did not run very well in this feature either. You think coming into this race, 2nd in points, Johan Hart, he ends up P8. Nathan Lyon didn't even make the feature. Logan Clampett ends up just barely with a top 5. Stilian Chiplevsky didn't make it, and Garrett Lowe with only a top 4. But Garrett was a full 60 points back pretty much. So Mitchell should still be safe out there in the points lead, but still not the race that you want Mitchell to have. And hopefully that's not a new habit Mitchell has with races like this.
But what we haven't spoken about is the driver of Joni Heikkinen. Victory for the first time in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. It took 3 rounds, Joni, for it to come, but we always knew you had the pace. A brilliant race at Sonoma for you here as well in the feature. You were just ever quick out there. Was this preparation? Was this natural speed? How good did you feel out there today at Sonoma?
maybe natural pitch. I don't practice so much than last couple of races. So yeah.
You spoke about how the other few rounds, this is just perfect for you. This car really suits your style as well. You're an ever quick young sim racer. Sonoma for you, I feel like this round is just, does it suit your driving style really well, of course, at the same time?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think it does. You ended up in P1. Talk about your feature race there. You ended up starting quite cleanly on the inside. It went cleanly from you there on. Was it a boring race for you, or was it quite fun leading out there?
Fun. It's never boring to be number one.
P number one. How excited do you feel as well with P number one for the first time?
Well, my goal is to win championship, not a single race. So yeah.
Yeah, I could see you're quite excited by this as well. Phoenix next time out for round 4. You've got to make it for 2, don't you?
Yeah, Phoenix is one of my favorites, so I will try.
You got to get it done.
He makes Mika Häkkinen seem exciting.
Final question as well. You're in that Sim Gear VW. Feel free to give out your thank yous and everything else for the rest of the team, if you feel the need to do so.
Kiitoksia sponsorille Simcarille. Nothing else.
Thank you. Jani Häkkinen, race winner, man of few words, and he comes home in the first position, Randy. Brilliant event from him so far. You'll be speaking to Josh Fox next, who had a thrilling podium finish in that second position. And there he is. Speak to him right now. He's joined us. I thought he left the server for a second, but Josh Fox in P2 is with Randy Cheneth.
Yep, I'm stood by with the Vision Racing driver. Josh, what a run for you in this one. Started second, finished second. There was a little bit of a stressful moment there where you made a bit of a mistake and Mitchell reeled you in by a bunch. How much were you feeling the pressure at that point, knowing that you'd had Mitchell just a couple seconds behind, really hounding you down, putting down some quick laps?
Yeah, that was a really bad mistake. I was really lucky even to hang on to second position, honestly. I didn't really know where those people were behind me, but there was no mistaking that purple and white paint scheme behind me. I knew exactly who it was, but I also knew that if I just kept smooth last 2 laps, I'd have a good shot at staying ahead of him, and that's what happened. So really good run. Glad to be back here after missing Indianapolis. That sucked, but good to be back here, and really strong race for the Vision number 5 car.
Now, you guys at Vision picking up a new member here. You guys really kind of growing and moving your momentum forward. Julian Shine joining you guys. He didn't have the race he would like, not even making the feature. But talk about the decision at Vision. Why did you guys decide to bring him in, and what has he brought to the team?
Yeah, we're thrilled to have a guy like Julian come on board. I think it's pretty clear based on everything you guys have seen in the broadcasts and many others as well who follow the iRacing Rallycross. They know he's definitely up there with the best of the best. So we're just thrilled to have him on board with us, and he brings a really deep understanding and knowledge of driving, and it's a great move for our team. Really strengthens us all around.
Well, congratulations on the podium, Josh. Who gets it done for you at Vision in that number 5?
Yeah, thanks a lot. We got a really great group of guys over there. Can't thank Joe Naughton, Connor, Stellian, Garrett, Julian, JB, Andreas, Terry Renard, Nerdworks Designs. Did a great job. Happy to put on a good debut for the awesome paint scheme he made for me for this Subaru. So that was really cool. And thanks to you guys for an awesome broadcast too.
Well, you are more than welcome, and hope to see you have some good luck in the upcoming round at Phoenix. But next interview coming up, the man who lucked his way into a podium finish. I believe this is his 3rd interview in a row. This at RaceSpot TV for World Championships. Mr. Phil Diaz has stood by with Mr. Simone.
Phil Diaz, what an event for you. I'm just so amazed by the fact that you had the podium. You put pressure on Mitchell de Jong towards the end of the race. Talk about the feature round, first of all. That was quite hectic for you.
Yeah, the feature round was good for us, really. Started on the inside. I thought P6 for some reason was on the outside, so I was freaking out. But was on the inside, got a good start. turn one, after the start or after the finish line was super important. Got up to P3 there. And then I was stupid on a lot, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there. I clipped the wall coming back onto the pavement. And I mean, just barely, but it got me a little bit of suspension damage, or wheel damage, sorry. It didn't really cause any slowdown, so I'm not going to throw any excuses out there. But I did that, and I think it just messed with my head more than anything. And then Mitchell caught up to me. And then once Mitchell got by me, I stayed right on him. And I felt good, and I was like, oh, maybe we'll catch Josh. And then, yeah, Mitchell hit the tires, which I was unfortunately going to hit as well because it looked like they had been moved. So Mitchell definitely saved me there. So, yeah, thanks to Mitchell. I blame Mitchell, actually, for not driving a Subaru this week. He should have driven a Subaru again.
He probably should have. It's ironic how he won 2 races in the Subaru, but didn't end up doing it in the VW. I have to say, though, you look quick out there all day. You qualified in 6th. You had the great grid position for that first heat. Heat 2 you were in. Oh, no, you were in Heat 3, I think. Anyway,
yeah.
Point is, you were so quick during the heats that you didn't even have to enter the Consolation Races this time around. You were thrillingly quick out there.
Yeah, I mean, I was fast last round, too. I mean, I was so unfortunate last round in turn 1. So this time around, I took my time. Mitchell was super nice to me in the heat race and gave me plenty of space. And I was able just to follow him, basically, to a P2 there. So then once I got in the feature, I really just wanted to keep it clean and just get through the first lap. And then from there, we'll figure things out. And yeah, it always comes down to the first couple corners. If you can get through there clean, and you're good to go.
And final thing, you head into Phoenix now with good championship position. You've improved your pace. You missed round 1 at Daytona. This is great momentum for you. You could possibly even be a race winner next time out. Who knows?
Yeah, Phoenix is actually one of my favorite tracks. Unfortunately, I'm going out on my honeymoon, so I will not be there.
Oh.
Yeah, I got 3 World Championship races next week that I'm missing, which is super unfortunate, but that's just how it works. But yeah, it's okay. We run at it again later in the season, and I'll hit it up then.
So Phil Diaz there, Randy, in that SimCube in next car. Thanks for joining us, Phil, again today. Another brilliant event for round 3 of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Final thing, Randy, is we head to Phoenix next time out. Another unique racetrack, different in nature, different Joker lap, of course, as well. We're heading into a race in 7 days' time that I'm looking forward to. Really, really excited for that one.
Yeah, it's Phoenix has been a track of 2 races with all of our Dirt Night broadcasts. It's either been one of the greatest races of the season when we're doing the official stuff, or it just ends up being a wreck fest and it gets strung out. The thing is, though, that when Phoenix puts on a good race, it puts on a fantastic race, and I think these guys are good enough that we'll see a good one. Questions, of course, all around. Will Scott Speed make an appearance, especially with Mitchell de Jong maybe falling a little bit flat, maybe not quite having the pace? Of course, he switched from the Subaru to the Volkswagen this week. Maybe there's something in it there, but could there be, maybe a gap there for Scott Speed to come in and, maybe pull off a win at Phoenix if Mitchell isn't up to form? I know Mitchell's doing a lot of work across, 3 different World Championship series, mainly the WCGPS and the VRS Sprint Series. So maybe something could be had there. But regardless, I think Phoenix is going to be an exciting round, either from the racing or either from the highlights from the crashes. It'll be one way or the other.
Yeah, well, that's something that we hope to see and hope not to see, one way or the other. That, of course, will be in about 7 days' time from Phoenix Raceway. So don't leave us, of course, as well. Really looking forward to that race. Thanks to all of you as well for joining us for today's event. So that will be Phoenix Raceway, same time as usual. 1 a.m. GMT will be on the iRacing Esports Network, streaming live on RaceSpot TV, of course, as well. I'm Jonathan Simon, joined by Randolph Cheneth, Cam Walsh, thank you for all his work on social media, and Hugo Luis behind the scenes in production, Istvan Bello, Andreas Werner, Simon Grossman, and Nick Thiessen. Thanks to those 4 for their work in production behind the scenes, of course, too. This has been a RaceSpot TV presentation broadcasted on the iRacing Esports Network. We say so long from Sonoma, and we'll see you in Phoenix in 7 days' time.